the top, because that's one of the chats I've heard is people are getting fed up of too many GIFs going down the side.
Yeah.
And
so the only way that I'm trying to use the GIFs, and I'm not actually going to try and use GIFs during the show, I'm going to start using more images. And the images that I'm creating are more on the actual topic. So let's say, for example, the debate one that I'm going to do. For people who are just joining in, or if the topic switches, say from politics to like religion or something like that, I actually have like a pre-made graphic template that I'm going to drop in the box, and just kind of that's how I'll notify everybody like, oh, the topic's switching. This is what the topic is. Or if let's say like if Ricky and Damien are debating about politics, I can change my screen. I mean, this is not a good example, but if I change it to something like this, but instead I could have like a picture on the top of Ricky. I could say he's a Democrat, he's this old, and then I could have Damien. So people who are like just tuning in, maybe I wanted my content I'm going to create to be more like supporting and not so much distracting. So when you're actually in a blab, I basically want to cut down on all the amount of questions that are repetitive that take away from the actual blab session. That's why I made those help GIFs, because I got tired of people like interrupting the blab, and it's not their fault. They're like, oh, how do you do a question? And people just being nice, like, oh, hold on real quick. Let me explain how to type /Q, and then it breaks away. So I just want to create content that like takes away all the like not needed chatter and just focus on the topic. Support. Yeah, and then whoever comes in, it's kind of like being more like supported by, and not just spamming the same GIF, you know, just kind of, because that is distracting, like you said, but more something that's just like accompanying it. So let's say like Ricky doing his show, which by the way, if you guys are tuned in tomorrow or today, actually Monday, to his, but like let's say he's doing something like along the lines of like speed dating or something like that. I can make a graphic that like supports that, like, oh, we're doing this so that the chat box doesn't become the same thing over and over again. Like, what's going on? You're like,
the follows all flooded.
Yeah,
speed dating follows flooding.
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah. I have to agree with what Michael's saying as well, because what he's doing is pretty interesting in the way like he's sort of talking about just putting it in his own camera. It doesn't take away from the conversation too much. It's subtle, but it gives the information you need. And one of the biggest things I learned when I was a Twitch streamer is, you know, if there's a 12-year-old kid making thousands of dollars and he's able to do it in front of a computer screen on his own, and he just set this all up just with a little bit of knowledge of how to use a computer and a bit of coding here and there, I mean, these kids know what they're doing, you know what I mean? So like, I basically, when I jumped on, I'd be like, hey bro, how did you do that? How did you do that? And then I just collected it all, put it into my own stream, and like, I've been seeing what Michael's been doing, and yeah, he's pretty much bang on with what he's doing. So
yeah, like that's what I only want to co-host for the most part, but I don't want to necessarily co-host in the sense of like I have to know all the topics. I just want to be a silent co-host for the most part and be like supportive of you. So if you're talking about like link building and you want to show a website, you could talk about it, but then I'll slave my screen to my desktop and actually open up that document for everybody who's watching and stuff like that. So you can see, and you don't have to be like, oh, hold on, let me, damn, many cams out. And it's kind of like distracting because people are like, they might get sucked in and then they're like, oh, okay, I guess we got to wait because their program crashed or something. So that's what I basically want to do, and create content that actually helps, I don't know, make the flow of Blab a little bit more easier to talk about and to actually like consume if you're other people. Plus, on the replays, a lot of the stuff's cut out. So that's also why I wanted to have it. On the replays, comments go away. But if I could display it on my screen, and if you put it on YouTube, you can still get the idea of what's going on, what's happening. And it'll still look, even like afterwards when you're repurposing content, a little more solid versus just like me being a co-host, but I'm just like looking at comments like kind of dead face. I'm just like,
you're what I call the silent co-host then. You're the type of person who would be not necessarily taking the seat, but
and I don't mind like chiming in and stuff like that and coming to the camera, because I have done that, like where I've co-hosted and like 90% of the time I'm silent, and then that little bit of time I hop on screen because I might actually have something like valuable to talk about of the content, which I no one really minds, but for the most part I want to be silent and just kind of be like supportive and helpful and just make my clients' blabs like the best it could be. Because by association, if your blab looks super awesome, like, who's that guy? And you're like, oh yeah, this guy is the one who helps me out.
Absolutely.
It makes me look good and I get business, but at the same time, it makes your stuff look good. I'm trying to just help people get traffic and then piggyback off that traffic for the most part and be like, well, hey, I could do it for you too.
Well, in the conferencing industry, we'd call you the voice from the gods at the awards system, at the awards events. You know, the guy you never see, but you just hear them when they're saying the next person up for the award is.
Yeah.
Even the thing. So yeah, it's very vital that these things kind of happen. And even when you're producing a television show or anything, there's still the guys that help facilitate it, so it all looks very easy. So yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. Really get where you're coming from.
Yeah, like someone said over there, like lots of been doing this on Hangouts, like, and I just agree. Like, it's nothing new that I'm doing. The thing that I'm trying to do that's, I guess, like maybe not new is that I'm trying to create quality content, stuff that actually looks really cool and is actually really informational and is like creative to the extent that no one else is really doing it. So like with the people that I am working with and I hope to work with on Blab in the future, I want their stuff to stand out because it's not just like what I'm doing, but it's also like the way in which I'm doing it and like the way it looks and the creativity behind it versus just like, because I could just throw up a JPEG, that's cool. But if I threw up like something that's animated that brought the titles in and it slides out and then you see like the video kind of like a news show, you'd be like, oh, that's a little more impressive than just a WordPad document typed out. Same thing, but one's going to kind of captivate you a little bit more than the other one. So that's what I'm trying to do, at least on Blab.
And I think Blab's more open as well, to rather than the Hangouts. I mean, not many people know about Hangouts, but I think Blab drawn to more of a bigger audience, I think.
I knew about the Hangouts, I just couldn't get in the damn things. I really couldn't. I'd had links, I was sent invites, I followed and did everything. I could never break into one. When I say break, I mean it's the ones when I was invited. But I couldn't get into them. Just couldn't get into them.
Blab has like a really cool factor about it. I don't know, it's got like a cool swing and it makes you feel really comfortable. And I like the layout. It just looks really tidy.
I'll be right back. I have to grab a drink. My mouth is so dry.
Okay. Well,
anyone that comes along, right? Anyone that comes along is like, I'm going to set up a Blab account. They can just set up an account. They're ready to go. Done. Just one Twitter account, you're good to go. I actually started like on Google Hangouts and I felt really awkward when I was on there. It took me ages to get set up and I didn't know what I was up to. Hey, Leanne, what's up, man?
Hey guys, how are you?
Really good, thank you.
Can you? How weird is this? I look really freaky. I'm sitting in the back of the car driving home. Mum and Dad are driving.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in the back of the car. Dad's steering and Mum's driving from the passenger seat, basically.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I like it. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Coming loud and clear.
That's all right. So no, I look really creepy. I look like it should be Halloween. How are you, Damien? How are you, Michael and Ricky?
Yeah, really good.
Really good, thanks, Leanne. How are you? Did you have your dinner or are you just going towards your dinner? You getting your dinner now?
No, no, I don't even know what time it is. It's 10:10 at night here. So we've been for dinner. We've been to Adelaide. It was my sister's birthday. So now we're driving an hour home.
Okay.
So I decided that I would come with Mum and Dad so I didn't have to drive.
How's it going? Sorry. I had to get a drink of water. My mouth got like super dry.
Yeah.
So, so Ricky, you're in New Zealand, aren't you? Yeah. What part of New Zealand are you in? My mother
okay.
just asked that.
I'm from Whangarei, 2 hours north of Auckland.
2 hours north of Auckland. Mum's a Blab expert. She said, "Who are you talking to?" I said, "Oh, you know, some friends." Now, is it Christy or is it Jason or Jade? No, these are different friends.
It's so diverse. That's what I like about it. Like I like jumping from one like really like colorful Blab to like the really informational ones, and I like that. I really like that. I reckon the informational Blabs are probably like one of the most like relaxing things. And I've actually started attending church services now on here. Sci-Fi Funk runs them, and I really think they're awesome. And his voice is amazing, so I like go in there and I'll just have my headset on, I'll just relax back, and I'm like just watching him like, this dude's the man. Like he's actually taking his time out of his day to do a church service for us. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, it's really good. That.
I just wanted to jump in and say hi.
Well, yeah, if anyone had any more questions about Manycam XSplit, I can definitely help. I was just gonna go to bed pretty soon.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to head off soon as well, but I think Cindy was going to keep going.
Yeah, I'm bobbing in and out. I'm interested. Is there was it I want to live blab from where I tried before? Can we actually blab from outside Blab now then? As in, if I set up a community page in WordPress, can I actually run a blab session in there now? Or
Yeah.
Ooh. How do we do that?
Michael's got the kit for that. We can't hear you, Michael.
Michael's sound gone again. How do you XSplit to connect to Blab? Michael, we can't hear you.
So I can help
I
you with
muted
that.
myself.
So you've got to go up to the camera. You've got to go up to the camera
What did you hear?
and make XSplit
yeah,
part of your webcam.
you can embed the blab, and it's small, but you can make it bigger if you want. You just have to change the numbers for the width and height. Just keep it the exact same ratio. So if it's like 100, 200, make sure that you increase it like 200, 300. So it's like always a 100 gap in between, and then it'll work. But is an embed blab broadcast on the platform and on your website? Yeah. You can put it on any website that you want for the most part. But the format of most blogs look a bit average. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to put it as a blog post, then you're going to have to consider what the size of your blog is. But I wouldn't put it as a blog post. I would put it as a blog page. Like if your website's iwantaspeaker.com/live or /blab or /blab live. And it's just a page dedicated to just having that. And there might not be a sidebar or a small one. I mean, obviously it depends on what template or theme you use. But if you have like a massive sidebar and a little tiny area for your posts, then yeah, it's gonna look a little stupid. If that hopefully doesn't sound too mean, but yeah.
But it'd be good for like people who want to do web seminars. Like you can the seminar
put it on
feed
Medium
on
too
your
now
website
as well.
now, and then.
Well, I've got a couple of things coming up because we're doing, we're part of the Institute of Sales and Marketing Management awards process over here because we're sponsoring one of their categories. So I'm trying to work out how I could perhaps take advantage of on the night in March, sort of like live streaming from over there, but and also tying up with the Institute and sort of like doing something a little bit different and fabby as opposed to periscoping.
Yeah,
I can't do that either.
Yeah, you could definitely embed it. I mean, it's going to be pretty interesting. And if you're in that realm of like Google Pixels and stuff like that, if you can embed it on your website to live blab and push people on your website instead of blab.im, then you can track people and you start collecting like an ad campaign list and bombard them with ads or stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. You could just track a little bit more than what you can do on Blab if you put it on your website and you push traffic to your website. Plus, it's probably easier because there's been times, even Ricky, who's been like, oh, hey, find me on Blab, and I have to go like find him and search for him. But if Ricky was like, oh, hey, this is on my website, I can just go to his website. I'm like, oh, there he is. There's no search. So it'll probably be easier just to get people to participate, at least view the Blab, because they don't have to do the whole learning curve step. It's just, this is the link to my website, and that's it. Done. And yeah, that's it.
So could you do it so it's like on the two places at the same time? Because this is great for people actually coming into the room. Because that's the one thing I love about this, that when I'm interviewing someone, actually having people join in. I know it's annoying the podcasters who are not used to people joining in on an interview, but I actually find it's great because of people come up with some of the questions and it actually extends the debate and shows the level of the knowledge that the people I'm talking to. So not to have that and have that away from the site. I can see you can have its place, but I would still like to have the audience coming by, if that makes sense, until there's a known following on the other side.
Yeah, so I posted a comment right there, and that's the iframe bit of HTML that you actually need to put on your website. And that place that says replace this line with your Blab URL, you would just post which the URL is up there. So this right here being an example, I just copied and pasted what the link is up here. It's the current one we're in. And if you just copy and paste that into the text/HTML side of your WordPress, if you're using WordPress, which most people are, and just hit update, it'll be in this Blab right now working. And you can do the same with Medium too.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got like, if you wanted to, you could just drop it in there now if you're able to, and then we could all rush over and actually go watch this live.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Just as a tester. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So would you actually? So until actually Blab gets really known, because I know I've spoken to quite a few people going, do you want to Blab? But it's like, what? So I know it's still sort of like finding its feet and still finding a bit of a market for itself, but it seems to be growing quite well. Quite.
I think
Just use words like professional broadcasting.
That would sound like the BBC.
Yeah, and then a bit, oh, really? And then you go, yeah, download this app, Blab, man. You're good to go. And then sure enough, they come over to Blab.
Yeah, I think that the whole embed thing is such a good idea. I mean, there's more to it because they're like teaming up with Product Hunt and stuff like that. But aside from that, it's a really easy way now to get people to sign up. Because let's say Ricky has a good following on a certain thing, and he just puts it on his website. And if Ricky's doing something really good in the video, they're going to want to comment. They're going to want to jump in. And when they try to do it, they're not logged in. It's just they're gonna sign up. I mean, I sign up for like Discus accounts all the time because I just want to leave a comment on a blog post. Let alone if the person I really wanted to talk to was there live right now. You know, like I'll just make an account, or I can sign up with Twitter, whatever. You just click it, and now you're logged in. You're like, hey, I have a question real quick, you know, or something like that, or you can just hop in. So I think the embed really did help people to give the ability to like promote Blab and make it more easier instead of like go to this website, do all these steps. It's just kind of like, here it is. Check it out. If you dig it, register. If not, don't. You don't like the join feed now?
No, come on, Tim. Are you going to join? Use that purple button. Go on. You know you want to. You just want to click on that purple camera.
Call in. You know, I like it.
It's pretty tidy.
Hello.
I thought it looked good and obvious.
Hello.
There's people who actually say like, I can't find it. What do you mean? And I'm like, it's right there. That join button. Like, yeah, where that makes it kind of like, all right, if you can't see that, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry.
Look, maybe it work. I just wrote maybe it just works better on mobile because it's a bigger button. So maybe it's a bit more obvious on the mobile platform. It looked a little bit like too big in terms of my design sense for that square, but I think probably for mobile it's doing a job there.
I actually noticed the boxes shift as well. Did you guys notice that?
I haven't moved my window.
So
yet.
like box one,
oh yeah,
box two, and then box three goes into the middle, and then box four comes up and it slides it across.
Yeah. I think they're getting over the top technical
cool.
now.
Whoops.
I think they're over engineering it.
I think they're just trying to see like what works, and they mention it pretty often. Like, this is the beta, so we're gonna do what we want, and we're gonna test things. We're gonna break things.
But for all we know, that could be A/B testing as well. So I might see something that you don't see.
No.
Yeah, I checked the app right now, and I didn't get an update. So I wonder if they're just doing it on desktop right now and seeing how the desktop does.
Yeah.
Could be doing it for the podcasters because I know they're really trying to push the podcasters to come on here.
Yeah.
You know, one of the coolest things, one of the coolest features that I ever came across on Twitch was a chat orientated bot. So the viewers could type certain commands and you could customize your command list on your computer. So like for instance, like you could be like /info for information on today's topic.
I've got that as an app called Text Expander, Ricky. So basically, I only type text or /tell1 or tell2 or tell3 for all those tell little birds that Michael does. So I'm not copying and pasting. I basically type 5 characters and.
I'm meaning like you can actually, all of the things, all of the blabs I go into, they're like all about these databases and collecting, the followings. And, one of the coolest things is you can have it so that people can actually log into your chat. You log your bot into your chat, into your specific chat. And then what you do is it'll run off of your chat and read what's being said. And so what happens is a person could be like /hello, and the bot would say back, hey, how's it going, to that exact person. But if you could be like...
So you can automate yourself and you'll never have to be there.
view time. So if I said /view time, my bot would be like, you've watched Ricky Prime for 60 hours. This isn't like super bad information, but this is information when they hit the chat. Sorry, I can hear someone.
You want to just say?
Yeah, it's all right. You can hear Chris.
I thought it was something else.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Michael. Do I
You need to.
just trying to install XSplit now? Do I need to
Into the camera.
download Broadcaster as well as Gamecaster, or just Broadcaster?
Just broadcast.
Broadcaster.
Just Broadcaster.
Gamecaster's for like uploading your games afterwards, like your replays and stuff like that. It's more for like StarCraft 2 and stuff. Just broadcast.
Okay, so I can see my preview image on the screen, and I put some nice funky graphics, etc. But I can't get it to stream. Is that purely because I haven't restarted the computer?
Yeah, restart the whole computer. That's what happened to me. XSplit had it like, because I think it installs like video drivers and stuff like that. So you have to restart the computer entirely, and then when it comes back in, do XSplit, then Blab. So open up XSplit first, then open up Blab, and then on the little camera up on the right side, if you're on Chrome on PC, the little camera thing will show. It'll just say XSplit. So if you want to try that,
I don't need to set a live stream or anything going, or
you don't. Not yet. No,
native.
Yeah, it's native, but you can do those things to make it look better. But just to get it running, that's what you would do, and then you could just tweak little things here and there, like your output ratio and what size and frame rate and stuff like that. If you want.
And what is the best resolution to use for Blab?
I think 720, just because. Like actually, right now I'm in 1080, so I'm kind of lying, I guess. But yeah, I think 720 just because most phones and stuff like that aren't gonna be able to see 1080 quality. But this is. If I could show you real quick if you want to see the difference. This is 1080 right now.
Currently in 4K. Nah.
I'm gonna run it. So you can see the like frame rate, and now I'm gonna.
Is it done?
Oop, you're gone.
You can let him back
He had to
in.
jump out. He's back.
And now this is 720. So it looks a little bit not so crisp, like on the edges and stuff, like right here, or like on my skin. It doesn't look as sharp on my like hair and stuff like that. But I mean, this is still good compared to most people's on Blab's like quality, you know. But
I do like the black and white. It doesn't pick up all the volts and everything else. It's
you know,
and it looks a lot cooler.
The only reason why I have it still black and white is I just bought this camera, and the old one that I had was from like 2006, and the color was like really like orange and like red and pasty because it's just a really shitty. It's a 1.5 megapixel camera. So I did it on black and white because, like you said, I'm like, oh, I could just hide my like orange and like purple skin tones from the bad camera. So when I bought this new one, I hopped on and people were like, oh my god, you're in color. It's so weird to see you in color. So I was like, all right, I'll just go back to black and white since everybody just uses like black and white. So yeah.
Well, I think Cindy's mentioned we're setting her up a media room so we can do it properly and use the proper umbrella lights and all that, so we get the best effect. But we're going to be switching to a 1080i Sony camcorder. Hopefully that should give us a lot better image.
Are you guys so like? Did you buy your lights already or no?
If you can see it,
Oh, okay.
yeah, we've got.
You got it all going already.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
we have to do a lot of green screen stuff for for our website, or we will be anyway. So
Nice.
we've got all the green screen and everything else ready to go. So we've never had a chance to clear out the junk room to make it a media room. So.
Yeah.
Junk room. It's our meeting room.
You call it meeting, I call it junk. Yeah.
But
Anyway, I'll hand you back to Cindy.
yeah, if you want
Thanks,
to
Cindy.
go on the text box, and if you have problems, just let me know.
In the right ears.
Yeah, so I reckon
your media centers, Cindy.
Put it? Yes. Yeah.
Did you,
Well, he laughed at me with what's going on behind me, and he sort of like said, "No, we need to get a bit more professional because of the people that I'm chatting to." And he's said
this is all I'm using as a light.
Yeah.
It's a lamp light with a white light in it, and I'm just bouncing it off my wall.
Yeah, that's
Oops.
pretty much exactly. what I'm doing.
Unfortunately, because of where we are, I've got LED strip lighting here. It's really cool stuff. It's literally just a whole load of these things, which we can dim.
All I'm doing is I'm just bouncing it off my wall to try and diffuse it.
Yeah.
But
I've got an old like light box that I used to check transparencies with.
I mean, that's essentially what I'm doing
What?
too. I'm just, well, it's kind of hard to see from my camera, but like, there's my. This is weird. Here's my monitor, and then I just have a lamp behind it, right there, and then it just bounces off the wall into my face. I mean, I don't have like a super kick-ass lighting system like some people do, you know, but my lighting setup is just something pretty basic. I do have my lights coming in, which
Well,
will make.
I have to be honest, Chris got for us the umbrella, the green lighting and everything with because we knew we had to do YouTube clips and YouTube videos. And I must confess, I tried it and I failed miserably because I just can't get on with YouTube. This idea of just one-way talking, because I feel like a prat, and I feel like a prat at big time. But when you're on camera trying to talk to somebody who's not there, I just felt like a bigger prat. So I couldn't do it. But Blab, yeah, it kind of works. So he's taking full advantage. Right, well, if you're going to do it, we're going to do it properly again.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just changing through my resolutions.
Interview format and style's been working really well. So, yeah, I think that you should. I can see.
I'm trying to psych myself up.
Yay, me! I should, hang on, I'll switch cameras. I'll show you my beautiful light box. So then we've all shown our lights. Hang on, where am I?
My light cost me $12, so it's doing me pretty good.
Well, I think I borrowed mine from an old employee.
Well, ours has been sitting not being used for the last year, and I've been just using ordinary light. So
yeah, my lighting is not like spectacular, but I know that, and I don't really care too much at this moment because I'm not trying to push what I'm doing until the new update.
They've got a giant light box there.
Does it get in your eyes? Like, does it irritate your eyes just having that constantly in your face? Or have you not?
Yeah, I can't.
And it sits above my head, so it's sort
okay.
of above my eyeline.
wow.
So.
Okay, so it's not like in your eyes.
Is that number 2?
Actually, it's whatever works. Chris has brought up
and then I've got another little strip light here too. So
yeah. Well, Chris has brought up the camera from earlier because of somebody's comment about the being in dark and not properly lit. So he thought he'd bring it up. But no, I don't want it.
But I think isn't the most important thing in your space going to be a heater? Isn't
a heater? That's
a
so
heater? Because you're going to be. Didn't you say you freeze in that space?
Oh yes. Oh yeah. I've actually got a radiator right here, and I'm not joking. I'm literally. Hang on.
But yeah, like I reckon the like a bot that sort of you can use to moderate your chat would be a lot better. And I think like going back to the streamers, that's, you know, you got like a 12-year-old streaming games and like running like full-blown channels that are really successful. Like if they've just got a bot moderating their chat and it's automated so that you can explain to the chat how to use the bot, and then it sort of removes the co-host feature, and then you can just pretty much solely run like a whole show on your own. Like I think eventually maybe someone will be able to do that. I think you'll need the APIs for it, but
you know what bot?
Once they do that, then they'll work out how to just write spam bots that insert fake.
So change the bots into.
But you can like one of the coolest features on Twitch, which I remember using, was when I was like getting like 400-500 views easy, I'd just put on slow mode so I could slow my chat down so it's raising up slower. And the other thing is if they are going to spam something, then they'll just spam it. They'll hit like a macro. Like I could hit a macro in the chat right now and just blow you. Yeah, just blow you guys up. But the thing is with like a bot, it can actually moderate how much is being put in. Because, you know, get a co-host in here, you know, get a co-host in here. They can only delete the comments. They can't stop that person from doing it unless they kick them. Like for an automated bot, you could have it so that if someone repeats the same thing as a warning, they repeat it twice, then it's like, can you please stop repeating that or else you'll be kicked? Automated message from the bot. And then if they did it a third time, boom, instantly blocked. And you can have it so that it's like
Ricky
the black and white on it looks way cooler. I know I normally go black and white, but I didn't want to. Like I just wanted to like come on because I'm always got some sort of effect on. So yeah, I'm never normally non-effect.
There you go. Just
Gosh, everyone's black and white.
we're all film noir. That's right. I'll stay in color.
Need
Backgrounds.
to turn your
That'd be the filters, wouldn't
light,
it?
brother. And another thing I wanted to say about how Michael's got his camera set up. You know how we're black and white, but his all his images are all color.
Yeah, that is cool. I've noticed that too.
Yeah, so that's actually it's actually a technique that we used to use on Twitch as well. So we'd black ourselves out, so we sync to the background. We'd have our chat in front of us, so you just see our head like bobbling above the chat, you know, and it'd be flooding up and all that sort of stuff. There's all sorts. But the videos you guys that I have on my YouTube, they're like old as, because like when they started getting like quite a lot of followers, you had to maintain your stream really good. Like when you go when you're solo, like at the moment this is like small, like we got 17 people, like 17 people versus 400 people. Do you know what I mean? And like if there's 100 people and you're having problems with like trying to moderate a chat, you need a co-host and all that sort of stuff. That's pretty slack. Do you know what I mean? Like it should be a lot easier than that.
Absolutely. I have seen it where it goes so manic, and I must confess that freaks the hell out of me, that if I actually had a blab that has more than 20 people in it.
Well, if you have like a chat that's constantly going and you look over and you're a host and you're trying to concentrate on the comments, but it's going up, it actually takes away from your discussion because you're trying to focus so much. And that's where your co-host comes in. So your co-host will be like, oh, there's a question in the chat, but co-hosts don't really do that too often on here. Like I noticed a co-host will just like type chat.
Yeah,
I think
that's why I want to be like a silent.
Yeah, and what I normally do is I just pretend to be the co-host in the chat. So
exactly.
So
that also depends on the dynamics. So, for example, when I run it with Fergus, even though I'm the host and he's the co-host, he's the one doing the most of the speaking, and I'm the one who's doing the reading of the comments and bringing it back to task and sort of like keeping him on point and leaving him to then interview the other two. When Damien was running this blab first, I was then coaching him and just sort of like running up and down the comments for him, just so that he could have an idea of how to perhaps host it and run it himself. But I personally like the idea of doing having co-hosts.
Yeah,
yeah.
I just think
co-host, it's like optional thing. Like I think like for me, like I'd prefer to have like a bot in my chat so that like I can integrate my chat with the bot. You can have people doing all sorts of stuff. Like you can have a bot that's every 5 minutes states, "Hey guys, I got next week's episode of this is click this link," and like. It just pops up every 5 minutes. Like 5 minutes is actually quite a lot, so you probably want 10 minutes. And like other things like viewers that were viewing me, for every, I think it was every 10 minutes, I'd gain like 2 Prime coins, because my last name is Prime. So that gained 2 Prime coins. And then what we'd do is there was actually a system built into my bot where I could be like, all right, guys, gamble your Prime coins. We're gonna do a giveaway, and we get to a certain stage in the actual Twitch where we'd be like, all right, today I'm giving away a copy of CS:GO Counter-Strike, which is a game, and it cost me $20. And I just used to use like viewer donations that I got given, and I'd just give back to my viewers, and that's how I used to always do it. So if it was a good stream, if it was a bad stream, I'd actually be like, nah, you guys have been bad today. We're not doing a giveaway. You guys are all terrible. I'll see you guys next time.
So what I've just learned today then is that you used to do Twitch.
Yeah.
And was a superstar by the sounds of it.
And what?
Yeah.
a superstar on that platform by the sounds of it.
Well, I got 2 sponsorships. I got sponsored by so I played this game called League of Legends. I don't know if you guys know it, but it's okay. I'll continue on.
No, that's okay. You can pretty sure that we won't know it.
So what actually happened is when I first started as a streamer, I only had like 20 followers, and then some person came into my chat and was like, "You're pretty cool. I'm gonna get my friend to follow you." Then a friend followed, then another friend followed, then Reddit came, and then when Reddit came, then the giveaway ideas came, and then what actually happened is I went to third-party game code sites, so G2A.com, and they denied me at first, and then I went to a skin shop, which is like they sell like different clothing for your characters in game. And I didn't realize, but there's like $300 pieces of clothing in there and shit. So
for
for your characters,
yes,
as in
for your characters. So there was this one called Ribbon, Championship Ribbon, like super rare, and like I was like, my title was like at 2,000 followers giving away Championship Ribbon, and I had boom 1,000 viewers straight away.
Well.
So it just shows like maybe they're hungry for something, but you're still a viewership, and like those who like you will stick around. Yeah, well, like as soon as I changed from League of Legends to Counter-Strike, which is a totally different game, my audience changed instantly. Like my numbers dropped like hard out, but then it started gaining, and so I gained. How many followers did you have at your peak? I have 4,000 right now, and I haven't been using it since October last year. So I've done like a couple like little streams, but I only get like 4 or 5 viewers at the moment because I'm not streaming consistently.
Yeah.
So once you like dive away from something, it dies out itself. But if you guys like, I'll just here twitch.tv/. Did they come up in the chat?
No, I didn't see it.
It didn't even come up in the chat, eh? That's weird.
No.
Bugging. All right.
Well, they did an update. Just trying to think back 2 hours ago now. About 11:30 UK time is when things start to kind of kick in.
All right.
So
Do you remember when they all?
What did they do?
I don't know. It's like, do you remember the day when Blab kind of started closing in on itself and everyone was in one chat room?
And there was that one guy who was holding Blab alive. I thought that was amazing.
I thought it was great. But yeah, that started falling in on itself about 11:30 in the morning, and it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse till one of the guys woke up. I think it was about 10 to 7 his time, which was about nearly 4 o'clock this time. But is it working now? Are you able to type now, Ricky?
Yeah, I saw it's already popped up in the chat. I have to refresh. I didn't have the big purple.
So is that your profile on Twitch?
Yeah, that's my profile on Twitch. The other thing I found with this is all about viewer interaction, by the way. This has nothing to do with like me as a streamer. I'm just talking about the interaction. What I'm saying is like what this bot actually did. Like I got like the stuff from like the skin codes and the game codes from these websites, and then what I was doing is I was running my giveaways using this bot. And like these bots were pretty helpful. They managed your actual channel. It had viewer time, all sorts of different features.
You had donations, Ricky. So basically, you'd ask your audience for donations.
No. My line that I used to get
donations
donations.
Are voluntary.
Yeah, well, like I had haters, so I was like, if you're gonna hate, donate. It worked. They hated me and they donated to me, so
I think that's brilliant.
Excellent. So how have you found Twitch to Blab and rather Blab to Twitch? I mean, is it just as easy? Can you see the potential or?
Yo, oi, Jocker Nerd. Yo, salute to them. They're awesome. and that rug boy. I hope he comes to my show tomorrow. I have a crush on that little puppet. So like Blab, man, like this big potential. I reckon give devs the opportunity to build extensions, and if the like not just extensions, like build onto the site, and like if the site if it's cool, then have Blab say, oh yeah, here's a list of cool things that you can go use if you want to plug it into your Blab. But the thing is with Blab changing so much at the moment, it's going to make it really hard because all the coding will change all the time.
Yeah, that's a good point, because we were talking about iframes earlier, and Michael put up the link for how to get it over onto other sites. Would it be too early to do anything like that?
I think like it's good to look into it. Like I definitely think it's good to look into it.
Hey guys,
So,
Are you using XSplit now?
finally got XSplit working. So it's good.
Can we hear you? Can you guys hear him?
yeah, I can hear it.
No, his audio is a bit soft, but
Hang on.
Try that. Is that better?
yeah, that's a bit
Okay.
better.
It sounds all right. Yeah, it sounds all right. Hey, Daniela, Ricciella.
Just been playing with the
Sorry,
themes
just
on
got
there.
Oh, we have transitions.
Oh,
Hello, that's me at the other end of the office there.
Yeah, I'll walk around.
So as I said, we're in the barn. Well, we're in an attic.
oh no. Oh, stop stalking me, please. That's funny.
Oh, dear.
I must admit,
You're being...
I like the fact you can do funky things like this.
with no audio.
No audio.
No audio. You can see the you can see the picture.
How do you get the audio to pipe to then?
That might be a Ricky question, because he
Oh,
know.
Michael.
I don't know how to do it on XSplit. You're playing a video that had audio, but the video was playing, but the audio wasn't.
Just imported the video in as scene
I
3.
missed something. I'll jump out and Michael can.
I was going to jump out so Michael could come in.
I'll do it. You stay there. Oh, okay. And we can all talk tech now.
So what was your question? I'm sorry.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Chris is running. He's running a video with audio, but there's no audio.
So if depending on what you have on Blab as your audio source, you might have it as your microphone. It won't technically play because the audio that's on your XSplit isn't being pushed onto Blab. So you would have to choose your audio source also for XSplit. And then in XSplit, you would choose your audio mic or your microphone, and then you would
create a mic.
Yeah, you would like add your mic into XSplit instead of the other one.
If I go to here, is that it? There you go. It doesn't give me an option to. That's a really bad picture. That's a really bad picture.
It might not give you the option just because you haven't selected audio into XSplit yet, so it might not be detecting that there's even an audio source to detect.
Your computer has to work out that you've got an audio source first. At least if it's like an Apple, that's how it works.
You need to go into XSplit and choose your audio source, and then you should just refresh Blab, and it should work.
Where do I set that up?
Yeah.
Is that under general settings? There we go.
Yeah, depending on your...
I've got audio preview none. System sound default speakers. Microphone default microphone.
Wow, the quality of Blab's just gone downhill. Like, what the heck happened to everyone's video? I just jumped into another Blab and like everyone was like so blocky. It was almost like I was playing with Lego.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's bad, man. What's going on? It's terrible. All right.
I went to other people's. It's looking good to me.
I like went to like the other blab that I started, and I just came over here. Bandwidth, nah, mate. I pay my bills. I'm good to go.
Interesting.
I think it must be just like everything just trying to settle down into place, maybe. A lot of people connect over Wi-Fi or 3G, breaks up. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the quality of XSplit is certainly a lot better.
The minicam?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you can see it in the text. That your logo looks crisp compared to Cindy's. Mind you, she's running it as a
Cindy, do you want to come in?
file or something.
But I haven't got a background on mine, have I? The opaque thingy, probably whatever it is.
That's fine. Well, let's use the same images.
I'm using minicam. Minicam seems to work fine for me. Like I haven't had any issues with it. Ricky, when's your show with Janet and Rugsy? I'm not doing my show with them. Like I watch them. I'm a fan of them. But I was asking Rug Boy to come on my show tomorrow if that was allowed. If it was okay. Because I know that puppet's pretty famous. So. Have you guys seen Rug Boy? Yeah, he's the man. He's
I haven't seen it.
Dude, he looks like he's like grunge feel. He's just such a good dude, eh? Like, oh my. For a puppet, he's like one of the funniest puppets you ever meet.
And so what sort of time is he on?
I try to make sure I jump on. It's midday. It's the Jock and Nerd show, and they have the special guest called Rug Boy. Yeah, he's the man.
Yeah, that's a lot clearer. Vinny.
What's that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you compare the two logos?
Just in resolution, very different.
Which one's better? It's definitely his.
Yes, definitely.
Can let me write like.
Mind you, Chris, I'm not in love. That font doesn't work for your name, the Chris Taylor font.
Does it not?
There's not. It's not enough.
What for Chris's?
There's too much contrast in the weight of the font to be legible.
So who's this? What's worse for the font name?
Well, yeah. So that they're equally bad.
Why
All right,
is
so
now?
What do you recommend for a good font then?
No. Look, I think with your I Want to Speak a Helvetica or is probably as good as you want to go. Or actually,
You're doing that on minicam, Ricky.
yeah, that's minicam. Whose is clearer?
Yeah.
Where did you lift that from?
Website.
Or did you
Our
download
website.
it off the site?
Verdana. Yeah. We do use Verdana quite a lot, or I use Verdana. I think that's Arial that got my name in. What is
There you go.
minicams?
Now I feel like I'm not.
Hey, no, I can't do minicam.
All right, guys, I'm gonna cam down, but just say thank you for your time and peace.
Thank you.
Hey, Ricky. Always good talking.
Now, which overlay are you using? You're using Bounce, aren't you?
Bonks.
Pardon?
Boinks.
Pardon?
Boinks. Boinx. You tell me how to say it. Boinks.
Boin
NX TV.
Boinks. Ah, I thought you said Bounce.
No, Boinks TV.
Boinks. Hang on, text. Oops. Ah. Hang on.
So,
Okay.
Does that look better?
Your graphics still really bad.
Oh.
and it could just be the resolution of the logo that you're using, Cindy, as well.
What I like about XSplit as well is the fact that you can resize. which you can't do on many cam like this. So you can position it really well. That's why I've got a native black border.
All right, well, we'll have to have a play with that in a bit
You can
then.
move it around.
Anyway, I'm hungry. So I'm going to have to go and get something to eat. And it must be very late where you are, Tim.
It's only 11. It's not even past midnight yet. So I'm doing well.
Are you an hour behind Ian then?
Possibly. Because where's he? He's in Adelaide or something.
Well, it's 12 o'clock here. He said it was 10 o'clock
Melbourne.
there.
No, he's in Melbourne. I thought we shared the same time zone, Melbourne and Sydney, but I could be wrong.
Oh, I don't know then. 10 o'clock. Is it 20 past 11?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in the same time zone.
Yeah. Melbourne's the same. There you go. See, it's amazing. We talk and the answers happen here.
1, 2.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Jason.
Cindy, can you just mute your mic a second? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Because I'm hearing an echo.
Yeah, it's because my mic is picking you up.
1, 2. Yeah, it is.
I don't know how to
You need
mute
to adjust
the
that.
mic. Can you hear me talk?
Yeah.
Can you hear me at the moment?
Oh, yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Well, what's these buttons on the sodding side then?
Those are monitor buttons. Don't worry about those. You need to adjust the microphone through the software.
That's no good.
Right-click the speaker.
You have to adjust the
bottom right
gain.
corner. Click on recording devices. And go to properties of your default and go to levels. Adjust it there.
That's high.
I'm on 88. Does it sound like I'm shouting then, Tim?
You are quite loud.
No.
What I'm very conscious of is this mic picks up everything in the room. So if Chris is on the telephone call in the background, it's already been picked up because Damien was saying earlier. With your...
That's where having it closer is like, and then you don't need as much gain.
Is that far away from me?
Okay.
Yeah, about that far away from me. You want it in the face.
I've got it there.
But if I put it there, which is what I did last time, I then found it very hard to talk on the keyboard. Oh, sorry, type on the keyboard even. Sorry. So
We'll get Chris to get when you want one of those Fandangle microphone stands that is all adjustable and you can have it up in the air and type on the keyboard.
we mean go back to your headset.
No, like a microphone, like this one's static,
Yeah.
but you can get those.
I've got them.
Those ones that are a bit more.
Yeah.
They're like a Luxo lamp kind of arrangement. So
Oh, the Swan neck.
Yeah, or something.
Yeah, I've got some mic stands we can use if needed be.
But the lighting does look much better. I have to give him that.
Yeah, it's very bright down that end of the room.
Oh, don't keep checking. Yes.
Is that the old logo?
Yeah, it's the old logo.
Tim's mic looks cool. Tim's mic reminds me of the radio programs from the old times when you see
Yeah,
them.
the old fashioned. Yeah, I only bought it because it looked retro and cool, but I'm kind of happy that it sounds all right too.
Right. Looks like Fergus has finished doing his recording.
Well, guys, I think I'm going to jump out. Thank you for your company.
Hi, Jed. Are you joining? Before I go, I can quite happily go, but are you going to join in? Just walked into the office, and you can still walk in and blab. There are people that walk around there with their phone and making your coffee. We can still do that on your on your mobile. And can you make me a coffee as well? I'll have 2, please. Sweet tooth. Apparently I'm not sweet enough. You're coming over to you're going over to Ireland soon, aren't you, Jed? Okay. I was just wondering whether it's worth doing an interview on Blab, because I was talking to some people about you this morning with your clout score being so high, etc., etc. Hi, Annie. Not a lot going on at the moment. We were just had some wonderful info. Hi, Jed.
Frozen. Oh,
You're frozen.
there I
Yay.
am. All right, we'll get it straight. See, I haven't had my coffee, so I freeze up.
Yes.
Is my audio okay? Because I'm not using a headset, so I don't know if I have an echo.
Nope, you're fine at the moment. I've
Okay.
been testing and playing with my audio and microphone and everything else at the moment. So, because of having the new microphone as recommended by Fergus,
Oh, what microphone did you get?
I got the Rode,
Oh, fancy. Fancy.
but it got the
That's the funny thing about Blab. You got to have a cool microphone. I don't know when that started. It seemed to have started like at day one, but you had to have a cool microphone.
Well, I've got it because what we're doing is I'm interviewing people, especially those that are on the website, and then we're popping it onto YouTube and linking it across to your profile on the website and doing the SEO stuff on the back of it. And Chris rightly pointed out that the microphone on the headset was absolutely pants.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if you're going to do this,
yeah.
then the extra quality has got to be better. And we've looked at quite a couple of the mics. And then I did a session with Fergus, who talked 2 hours about mics. And we're talking literally solid 2 hours where he went through suitcase after suitcase, pulling out various different mics and saying, right, you use this one for this for this, and this comes with this gadget, and that one comes with this gadget. And it's all the real techie stuff. But for me, the long shot is that getting this one is a plug and play, but it's an NT USB quality, which means that it's got its own inbuilt mixer desk or whatever. I don't know. You get the good quality without having to have the hassle of all the extra software and all the extra mixing desks and this, that, and the other.
Yeah, I didn't want to have a hardware mixer or anything like that, but I ended up downloading a software mixer. It works on PC, but not on my Mac. I'm actually talking to you on a PC, but on my laptop it doesn't work quite as well. But it makes a big difference. The mixer does, or at least the mixer software. I imagine the Rode has got it built in or something.
I must confess, I have no idea.
But yeah, so no, I fell into the same trap. You can see I've fallen in. So
you got one of them.
And there's my coffee. There's my coffee. But yeah, I've fallen in the same trap. Had to have a nice mic. But like many people on here, I'm doing some dabbling with podcasts, and also start making some YouTube videos. And the sound is really going to be very important there. So I figured I'd spend the money.
Do the thing. Do the upgrade.
Jump in with everybody else. Have a nice mic.
Well, as I said, I didn't have the mic because I wanted it. I had the mic because I was given it, and it was a case of, well, if you're going to do this and it's going to be reused, and we're doing it for a purpose, then might as well do it properly. So you podcast as well, then.
So now, you mentioned a minute ago, and of course I'd be happy to do an interview with you for sure anytime. But so in the UK, is the cloud score, is that like something that people keep track of, or is that important to people over there? I'd be interested to get your feeling.
Over here in the UK, we are a little bit behind from that kind of viewpoint, but those that get it. So you have to kind of cover all bases. For example, I know with the speakers, about a couple of years ago, you had to have your clout score. You had to get your clout score up. There were people trying to get a bit of a speaking career going on the back of why clout score matters. But for some reason here in the UK, it just hasn't taken off as much as other places. And so those guys have actually gone back to why LinkedIn matters and talking about LinkedIn and going back to the more traditional. But the funny thing is the UK does actually catch up. So I think we're coming into the time again where, the clout and all those type of things, because the one thing that is happening is there's so many people calling themselves experts that people are really, really fed up of them. And they are looking for other ways. So, for example, I was talking this morning to a client about our website. And what they were loving is the idea that there must be a way to start rating speakers that 9 out of 10 times they will turn up, kind of thing. Or they're only 90% effective and they do have a bad day. And are they really, really bad on that bad day? Kind of thing. And I said, well, that's why we have reviews on our system, so you can actually see that. And just like Amazon and eBay, if you've got a seller who has a 96% score, then you know that actual fact when they have a bad day, it's just because it's a one-off, they're having a bad day. And that will happen with what we're trying to do with the speakers as well, which is good. Because we already know that when a client wanted a bad speaker to go on there, this guy wouldn't go on. And the client still booked him, still used him, and then came back and said, we should have known that if you didn't want to go on, there's a reason why you didn't want to go on. The reason is that for his 45-minute slot, he spent 10 minutes with good information and the other 35 pitching for people to attend his training session.
Okay.
So, yeah, they said, right, from now on, we're using that. If the speaker doesn't want to go on the website so that we can at least do a review, or we feel a little bit of mistrust going on, or they might not turn up, then if they don't want to go on there, we're not going to use them.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, never thought of that side, but
yeah, and I think companies and brands are stuck too. There's lots and lots of tools out there that try and help you find, or determine who's an influencer in a particular area. And, social media is still very new to brands, to large companies. And they just get overwhelmed by it, and they don't know how to differentiate. And Clout Score seems like a way that they can do that, and so they adopt the Cloud Score as one of their measurement tools. Even companies as big as IBM, they measure the Cloud Score. They had a big IBM event out in San Francisco, and they had their social media. I don't know what you would call it. Their social media dashboard for monitoring the event monitored a bunch of hashtags for the entire event, monitored who was tweeting and who the top tweeters were, and it also monitored who had the highest Cloud Score that was tweeting about the event. So clearly they care about clout. because their internal dashboard that was measuring the success of the event measured like 3 or 4 items, and one of them was cloud scores. So
Wow.
I can't tell you whether that's smart or not smart, but I do know that, you know, it's a tool, and people are going to use it when they don't have better tools available. So it's so Stephen, I would disagree with Stephen who's opted out of cloud. Stephen Caggiano is a huge engager on social media, has a huge following, much bigger than mine, and I'm sure would have a fantastic cloud score. I think he's popped out at the moment. But some people just don't like the idea. They understand how the cloud score is measured, and they don't believe that it's an accurate measure of actual internet cloud or authority, which I could agree with. I could see that point of view, but I also understand that people need tools to kind of measure and validate who is actually out there with an audience engaging on a regular basis, and I believe cloud can do that.
Okay, so
I'm sorry, Angie. I popped in just to say hello, and we've gotten off on a tangent here talking about cloud. Sorry about that, but I was just curious from another perspective on another continent, because here in the U.S. it's still kind of a mixed bag in terms of who's using cloud and who isn't.
I think what would be good is if we can schedule a blab, Jed, where we explore and sort of like go through the benefits of social media with brands, why brands are a bit latent to it, because I personally believe that there's a big sticking point at the CEO at the board level. At this,
it's all about buy-in. It's 100% about buy-in and believing that this is going to make an impact on their business. So many executives feel like it's a fad or it's a small portion of their
and it's too many people
customers.
Jumping on the bandwagon when they don't really know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
there's plenty of that.
Yes.
Plenty of bandwagoning going on, but the executives don't use social media personally. They don't see or understand why anyone else would use social media unless they were just wasting their time. So they, and I'm saying in a broad way, I'm hugely generalizing here, but they feel like social media, they feel like there's only a small percentage of the population that really would have their decision making impacted by social media, and that's the misconception. That's, I think, what we need to address.
Absolutely. And I mean, I know when I was kind of working with a £10 million organization, they freaked out when I said we should be tweeting. I was like, no, we can't tweet. We really can't. And it's like over 1,000 people were working at this organization, and they put a blanket policy that no one tweeted.
Yeah, and I advise these firms, and when I begin an engagement with a large multinational brand, the conversation is always the same with the largest Fortune 50 companies. The conversation is, okay, this social media thing is getting some legs under it. How can we engage in social media without having a catastrophe? How can we prevent disaster is the conversation. Whereas the smaller companies I work with, they want to leverage social media for growth. They want to grow their businesses using this amazing new tool called social media. But all of the big companies are asking me, how do we prevent disaster from happening? We've got all of these thousands, hundreds of thousands of employees, and they all have Twitter and Facebook accounts. How are we going to lock this up and have control over what's going on in social media? And I tell them, you're not. you're not going to control social media. You have got to control your internal culture, your corporate culture, and it has to become a culture of openness and transparency. If it isn't, then your employees are going to use social media to vent and to use that as their outlet. If they feel like they don't have a need for an outlet, or they feel they have an internal outlet, they'll use it. But if they don't, and you go on lockdown, then social media will be their outlet, and that's when the catastrophes that you're trying to avoid happen.
Right. Totally agree. And we even got a thumbs up from Will as well.
Well, if Will agrees with me, then I completely feel justified.
Absolutely. And it is sad that there's a lot of people that, I think, because they don't know how to handle it. And when you're then getting a lot of people that kind of say to them, follow my methods, I know how to do social media, and you find out they're just small methods. We've had ourselves where we had one-man band trying to say, right, we'll do the SEO is one thing. But we actually went to a proper organization to do the SEO, and the difference in the quality is so unbelievably different that I can understand how a lot of corporates and a lot of other, especially the medium businesses and the growing businesses, might get caught out by the people who purport to know SEO and how to do it. In actual fact, they don't. They've just got this program and they saw somebody doing it for them and thought, hey, that's good, I can do that myself.
Yeah. I mean, you can really get great or especially good at SEO by watching YouTube videos for your personal website or for your small business website. But for a company that has multiple product lines, customers across continents, and a number of different things going on within their organization and messages that they're looking to get across, one person can't do SEO for a corporation. It just there's just too much work, and a little software program and adding keywords in there and putting in some web pages isn't going to work. So yeah, I completely agree with you, and I have some SEO firms that I trust and would refer people to. But SEO, talk about snake oil. That is a snake oil business right there. If I ever meet anybody and the first words out of their mouth is that they are an SEO expert or something to that effect, oh man, my radar is going off immediately, and I'm completely wary because I don't trust anybody doing SEO, or very few people. But and part of that is because it is down in the weeds and hard to tell. Do they know what they're doing or not? It's hard to tell. Because they're telling you about all these, in the weeds, algorithm based, a lot of times has to do with some specific software that they've developed themselves that will do. And fortunately, I have a programming background, so I can usually sniff that out. But yeah, most of the people I've met of the variety that are snake oil type people are within that SEO space. Yeah, absolutely, Angie. Down in the weeds. They get down in the weeds for sure. What's up, Brian Fanzo? Good morning. Good morning, Brian. I hopped in and to say hi to Cindy, and all of a sudden she was finishing up her blab, and all of a sudden we've gone and created a whole new one with talking about SEO and cloud scores and brands on social. It's been fun.
Come on, Brian. Join in just for a couple of minutes. I know you're a very busy guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope you'll join in because I've got my coffee brewing right here. I need to pour it in just a second. All right.
Morning. Afternoon.
Yeah, I guess afternoon for you. I guess morning for us. It's 9 a.m. So it's definitely morning my world.
There's the blab mug and the coffee pot brewing.
How come you got a blab mug? I actually even applied to get a blab a blab gift thing.
I don't think there actually are any blab mugs, but this is a mug that was given to me by a university I spoke at. And I put a blab sticker on the back.
Right.
Top secret. Don't tell anybody that, but that's my blab mug secret.
Mind blown.
And on camera, you really can't tell the difference.
It's 33 degrees here, but I'm still drinking iced coffee because my brain is wired like Arizona, and I drink iced coffee. But I was freezing this morning outside. I'm like, why am I drinking iced coffee outside?
Yeah, it's 30 here. Yeah, it's cold.
Yeah. So what's up? What's the? I saw the call-in buttons all freaky looking. What are the other new blab updates or anything? I haven't been on since.
That's the only one I've noticed so far this morning. But
call in. That went on like 11:30 UK time. So what? 3.5 hours ago? No, 3 hours ago.
Will might know. Will, any other new updates from last night that we should know about?
Yes,
you
Will
probably know because he's been. This is nighttime for him now. Yeah, what's going on with you, Brian?
Oh, not much. I'm well, the opposite of not much, I guess. But no, it's like this will be my first like official week with out pending client work from my last company. So it's officially like no more hangover of doing stuff that I still wasn't sure what the ultimate value was. So it's all brand new work. So lots of figuring out what the heck that means.
Yeah, it's going to mean a lot of prospecting on your part, which sucks. I hate that part of it.
Me too. I definitely am not, and I can't. It's hard to complain whenever I have a amount of inbound that's in my inbox is slightly ridiculous. But now it's more of the what inbound is actually worth me chasing, and what inbound was worthwhile passed on my last. So I'm not very good at that, but we'll see how well it works.
Well, you're gonna have to get good quick because you can just waste entire days going through that inbox and following up with people who just want to talk to you and say hi.
Yep. Yeah, I have a feeling that's going to be a lot of my. We'll see, but
yeah. What is it you're looking to do in basic?
For me now, it's just helping brands tell their digital story. So as basic as that gets. So I mean, I speak and I do consulting stuff, but I've always done more sponsored and client-based work. I was never into like marketing agency. I never really that wasn't my space. But I have like 3 shows, a podcast that are sponsored, and then now it's like okay, working with brands. So like next week I'm going to Vegas to live stream the influencer event for IBM, and IBM's been a client of mine for a while, but. So yeah, for me, I work with any of the brands from startups to enterprises on if they want to help either tell their story through their employees or tell their story through influencers. I help with that because employee advocacy was my background, and then the influencer work is kind of my space now.
Right. Okay. So I was just trying to think. I'm just trying to think. Sorry, my mind is going off in 50,000 different minds, different ways, and this, that, and the other. Because I know that I was going to try and have a catch-up chat with you about speaking on that side of things.
Yeah, I don't know much about your side of. For me, it's a weird world of speaking because I was spoiled. I started speaking. I started speaking in 2005 when I worked in a different industry, and I spoke at like Moscone in San Francisco. I was opening keynote for 22,000 back then, and then I pivoted my career. And now I've been very blessed to never. I have yet to submit or to go after a speaking gig proactively. Everything has been inbound towards me. But that's also part of my shift to my focus now that those have come in, and I have to do all the negotiating and managing all of that craziness myself. It's turned into a giant ass headache. So now I'm shifting my focus to saying, what the heck does that mean? And how can I outsource some of that? And how can I actually proactively go after speaking gigs? I have 7 booked between now and the end of the year that were all like inbound side, but I haven't, like, I need to figure out like how to submit for speaker. I haven't done any of that. I've been very spoiled. I'm not complaining, very spoiled in the sense of speaking in that sense. But yeah, I remember, I think I checked out your website. Or I might have messaged you a couple weeks ago.
We were going to catch up on Skype, but I purposely kind of let you because I know that you was very busy with closing down what you was doing and coming back in. So Emma, we can't see you. Okay, a bit of a problem there with her connection. But yeah, so we need to catch up on that because with the website, the reason why I'm thinking is where we might be able to help is we're hosting the awards, or sorry, we're sponsoring one of the categories for the Institute of Sales and Marketing Management. So that's over here in the UK, and they're regularly sending stuff out to their 60,000 members. So one of the things I'm trying to do is build blab interviews and then change them into YouTube so that we can then send links to that as well, which then go on your profile on the website so that it sort of like just gets a bit of traction and gets people moving and everything else, this, that, and the other. Now, we're still working on building some of the apps on the website, but essentially it does all your contracts for you, does all the invoicing for you. We chase all your money for you, so it goes into an escrow. And basically we do all the grunt work of the support stuff on the back of that. So that's what the website's supposed to be about.
Nice. No, yeah, it's the whole thing's interesting. You know, like it was like June. I had 3 associations kind of contact me, wanting me to join, and I kind of wasn't at the spot then that I thought I wanted to figure that out. And I had reached out to a couple of the speakers that I'm close with, that I use kind of as mentors, and they were like, "Well, let's figure that out." And then Periscope Summit, I had there's a speaking agency from the Canada that that was the first one that we actually went through like contract and figure out some things. But for me, I think the whole, I don't know if you saw my blog post about why the speaking industry needs a wake up call. I can't remember the title of it.
It so does. That's what we're trying to do.
Yep. Here, I'll find the link because someone just tweeted it out today. I saw that. But for me, it's a lot about because I've had I've been very almost most of my speaking gigs inbound have either come recommendations from Jay Baer, Chris Brogan, or Ted Rubin. And it's so for me, they just pass that down and say, hey, I can't do the gig, or I'm not right for that gig, and this is Brian. And so I've been very blessed, and I've been very lucky to get those because of those relationships. But there's other people that are, especially on my level, that are great speakers that would be crushing it, but because they don't have that and they don't have that knowledge, and they don't understand the association game or the membership game, just like I don't really understand it from that point, it really makes it hard to break into the next level. Oh, look at that, Jed. Jed, you sniped that. That's impressive.
Thanks. No, you are absolutely so spot on. I mean, I know with my years of the speaking industry, it's so far behind, and it's based on a lot of mistrust, a lot of little black books, because what people fail to remember is that when you're an event organizer, if you pick a bad speaker and they go wrong or they don't attend, you potentially can lose your job. For example, there was a television documentary back in February, and they were highlighting charities. And this charity had hired a speaker off the internet. The guy at the bottom did all the paperwork, got the speaker on board, but didn't properly brief the speaker. So the speaker was then let loose on the audience and started talking about jihadism, that they have their blessing, that all capitalists are Zionists, all this type of thing. So you actually had free reign to actually do all this. They didn't stop him. They didn't pull him off the stage like an experienced event organizer would. But on the back of that one speaker, the guy who booked him, who found him, was suspended. His boss, the event manager, was automatically fired. And the MD, who was also the CEO and one of the trustees, resigned half an hour before the program went out.
Wow.
And that's just from one bad speaker. Now, if they'd done the research a little bit better and just didn't trust all the testimonials on the speaker's website, hey, as if they're going to put bad ones up, they would have found out this guy was actually kicked out of a university for being anti-gayism. Wow. I'm talking at a gay rally. Wow. I was like, what an idiot. But so when you've got that at stake, it isn't hard to understand why event organizers then start going down their little black book method, why they start saying, right, I would like to have you as a speaker, but if I can't have you, then who do you recommend? Because it's your brand that's now on the line.
Right. Yep.
And that's what is happening at the moment, where we're finding we're breaking the mold. There's a couple of clients that said, oh, God, what you're doing is too good to be true, because they've been so burnt. There's been a lot of bureaus that play stupid games. For example, On our website, you get to talk directly to the speaker. On a lot of the Bureau's websites, you think you're talking directly to the speaker, but you're talking to their employee. Secondly, if I phone up saying I want to book Brian because I've seen him on your website, the Bureau's job is to actually try and get you to buy the speaker they want, and then you.
Right.
So, for example, you are just no more than an invitation to come in.
Correct. Yeah, front door. Yeah, for sure.
Secondly, they might have your face on there, but they actually don't have you as an exclusive.
Right.
So the next trick they tell the clients is, hi, yeah, we can get hold of Brian. Yeah, we know him. He's a really, really good friend of ours. Put the phone down and say, right, who do we know? How do we get hold of him? They'll then phone up the Bureau or the agent who looks after you, which means the commission price goes up one hell of a lot.
Yep.
And so it goes on. So there's a lot of game playing going out there. And that's why clients get really, really fed up of bureaus. They get fed up of some speakers that are also playing games. And they then start to then not trust new people, new items, new ways of things, because it's all been done there, done that, got t-shirt, got bitten and closed down. So you're absolutely totally right. This industry needs an overhaul, and it needs a way for people to be able to fight back. Hence why we put the reviews on, so that if you are behaving badly, you can either do something about it and change your attitude and get better, or get out. I mean,
yeah. Part of the problem, I think, is the fact that event organizers don't have, like you said, they don't have much incentive to take a risk on a speaker, because half the time, even if they get crappy feedback the year before, they do a good job of either tuning that out or forgetting that exists or making that disappear by the time the event comes around the next year. Yes. And then the next year, the same people that show up. So like, that's why even on that blog post when I was writing it, I put a lot of the onus on the actual like attendees and the people that are spending the money out of their pocket to be, to speaking up. I mean, like, I will not settle, one of the ones that really crushed me was, in a 3-year period, I saw the same speaker 7 times give the exact same presentation to 4 completely different audiences, from a tech audience to a business audience to a social media audience. And I wasn't even saying that they need to change their keynote every time, because it was a little high level to where it kind of sees that. But the fact that I could see it that many times, and the audience, like, each time got more disconnected and got more polarized. And for me, it was like, how does this person keep getting that gig, knowing that I felt like the very first time I saw it, people were already disconnected from them. But I don't think there's like a channel that people can bitch on Twitter. I mean, they can post on Twitter, but like, I don't think there's also a channel for like attendees to be like, hey, I'd be willing to sign up for Inbound. I'd be willing to sign up for this event and fly and spend my money. But the fact that you give me the same speakers that I've heard, 37 times, I'm not saying the same speakers aren't good, but like, let me have a voice. I think that's a difficult one. But top of the morning, Andy.
Absolutely.
Hey, Brian, how are you? Hello, Jed. Hello, Cindy.
Good morning.
Good morning. You can hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
That's weird. I just switched my mic on mid-greeting. I said,
no, we can hear you.
So what's the temperature in Chicago now, Andy?
Yeah, funny you should ask. 49 degrees and sunny, and freeze your ass off.
It's nicer than it is here. It was 27.
49. What is it like for you, Brian?
It was 27 this morning when I woke up. When I first got out of bed, I walked outside with my dog out, and I walked inside my daughter's, and like, we're wearing heavier jackets, especially because we've lived in Arizona the last 7 years. This is really cold.
Yeah, it's 30 degrees when I walked in the office a few minutes ago.
Cindy and I would say brass monkeys.
Yeah, that is true.
Well, I'm on centigrade here rather than Fahrenheit, so I have no idea.
Yes. So what? We're like right above freezing here, or below freezing, I guess.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. You're below. We're below freezing. You're below freezing. I guess the East Coast is got the cold part, and then it's a little warmer in the Midwest or something. Anthony says it's 37 in New York. That's weird because I'm south. I'm hundreds of miles south of New York, and it's colder here. That's weird.
When I just hopped on, so I don't know if this has been discussed, but I noticed a new join button.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. It kind of freaked me out. I was like, what is that thing? I was like, what is that?
It's a little bit hard to notice, and how when you've only got two of you, how it all moves around into the middle and stuff.
Yeah, like kind of like the replay. So now the replay doesn't freak you out when the replay all of a sudden shifts down when you upload on YouTube. Like the first couple times, I'm like, that's weird. We're not in the top of the box anymore. I think I like that update.
I haven't noticed that. Of course, I joined a threesome, so I didn't see that. But yes, okay. Moving on.
Moving on.
Where's the long requested questions column? Why is it taking so long for that to come? First world problems, right?
Well, it came and then it went, but I think they're doing a major update on the whole sidebar in its entirety, and that's why they're not working on that like individually feature by feature right at the moment.
Got it. And yet they move so quick on the Tell a Little Bird, right? They changed that to make it stand out a little more. And then the starring, I guess, the pop-ups on the stars, that would be part of that change then, I guess, on the sidebar.
Yeah, I miss not being able to see who stars my comments. That was kind of a nice feature that went away.
Yeah, it's almost pointless starring because no one knows it was you.
And another problem
is like you can't even catalog or like there's no down section of the star. Like for me, the stars was like it's the fist bump and favorite on Twitter, right? They get a push notification to know that I acknowledged it. Absolutely. Here, it's just like it's like great. There's a bunch of people that either like, dislike, or something with my content. I don't even know who they are or what reason it was.
Yeah, why did they get rid of that?
Yeah, I think some of those changes were. I think some of the byproduct of some of the changes were not expected, right? So I don't think they were getting rid of features for because they are no longer valuable. But at least I heard that conversation going on where I was like, oh, that makes a little bit more sense. Where if you're changing something on the back end and all of a sudden you're like, oh, that no longer prompts that anymore. But I can't. It's hard to complain about them whenever the reason I love them is they're innovating and failing fast. So when they do fail or do something, I'm not going to be the one that complains. That's for sure. Just because I much rather have that than the blog post I have going out about Meerkat and how unfortunately my loyalty is now gone because they do the opposite.
Yeah, definitely don't have any problems with how they're working on putting this together. I really like the way that they seek out feedback and how they don't just knee-jerk throw features in that might seem useful but could clutter up the space because that's there's already a lot going on. We don't need to clutter it even further. But I think the things that we've noticed on the sidebar are all being addressed in a big renovation coming up to the chat sidebar. There's other issues on the sidebar too, like if you're moderating comments, when you go to click the X to delete the comment, right before you click it, somebody else types in a comment. And it scrolls up, and you delete somebody's good comment, and you're like,
I've done that like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, oh god, I did it again. Like, yeah, that's.
But I've always suffered with that. That just as you're trying to actually even give a mention to somebody, and the next thing you know, you're replying to somebody. It's like, hang on.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one big problem I see as soon as Blab starts to get huge. If you have hundreds, if not thousands, of folks all trying to get on the action on the sidebar, you're going to have to come up with a slow-mo mode or something that allows you to just catch on to what's happening.
And I think you could implement a hover mode where if your mouse hovers over the comments, that it freezes that pane until you hover away again. But not sure that I haven't heard that. That's just me brainstorming a way that you could do that. I haven't heard anything like that, but
I love the way you.
I don't know what their plans are. I just know that they're looking into the sidebar and doing a major update refresh on it.
Yep, they're doing a whole load of embedding Blab into the Facebook page as well. There's quite a few people doing that.
Oh yeah, so I hear a lot of people asking, how do you embed Blab in Facebook? You need a plug-in to a page, right? So like 22 Social or something like that. You can install that plug-in into your Facebook page. It won't do it on a profile, obviously, but on a page you can add a tab. And I think 22 Social has a plug-in page where you can use an embed code, but but I know some other sites do. Some other page plugins offer that as well. If you're a Facebook like hacker or developer or whatever, and you want to build a plugin for Blab that just is a page plugin, and you put in the link to the Blab and it inserts that would be your your Facebook page plugin would be popular instantly. That would be pretty cool. And probably wouldn't take much to write. I mean, it probably wouldn't be much.
I know.
FYI, Brian, just to give Cindy some props here, I did sign up on iwantaspeaker.com and set up a profile. And I've been talking to some people in Ireland and the UK about doing some talks over there. And if you're interested in any of that, let me know, and we can collaborate on something like that.
I'd love to. I would love to. For me, I'm like I'm open to pretty much any of those opportunities, especially in the speaking side right now.
I think there's a pretty strong demand over there for some reason there's this view in the UK that Americans know what they're doing on social. I've met some people from the UK that are great on social but get no respect in their home country. Like Ian, for example. Ian Cleary is a social media powerhouse, and he goes back home to Ireland and they look at him like, oh, he's just a guy from the pub. And it's like, oh my God, I would be so frustrated.
Is that from Ian's perspective? Is that what he's telling you?
Ian would not disclose that. Ian would never say that to me. But I've met Ian. I know him. I've learned a ton about social media from him. And I've been talking to some groups in Ireland about speaking over there. And when I asked them about people in Ireland who could also participate, the universal answer is no, we want people who know what they're doing.
What? That's surprising to me, because I mean, I've only recently became aware of Ian in the last month or so. So in other words, Blab timeline, and it's clear to me he's creme de la creme. I mean, he is right up there in terms of knowledge. I just want
Ian Cleary. He's the founder of RazorSocial.com. He's awesome. I mean, in my opinion, there's no one talks tools, especially social marketing tools like him. I mean, he's the best of the best.
So I don't know if people are regarding him as niche and they want broader social media, but he is, like I say, he's a true.
Well, the funny part is he also does a majority of his speaking gigs outside of, like almost all of his stuff is U.S. based for the most part. So I think it's also an interesting, cross section. But I felt the same thing, like the UK when I was in the cloud based computing side. My two biggest paid speaking gigs were actually giving like a speech that I gave a year prior to in the UK, because the UK felt that my approach to like cloud computing and integrating social media was actually more advanced than what they were doing. Yet I got on the ground and like the first three speakers blew me away, and I was like, oh crap, I better step up my game. Like, so it is kind of a weird cross section of what they think is good or how things, it's very interesting mix on what people are looking for. But I also wonder, because this goes back to the whole speaking thing. Are events picking speakers to provide the best value to their audience, or are they picking speakers that allow their sponsors to pay the most money? I think there's two different.
And then what we were talking about earlier, Brian, are they picking speakers based on the highest cloud score?
Well, if that was the case, I would be okay with it only because my cloud score is high. But other than that, I would not be okay with any of that being the case. No, but that's a good point. I mean, and validation, benchmarking. I mean, the fact that I was told, and I have this email, and I probably will never disclose it. Maybe one day I'll disclose the source of it. But I was told, they signed me up for a speaking gig to speak at an event, and I was told, hey, here's 2 ways that I would give you, I would double your speaking fee. And it was like if you had 100,000 followers or you had a book. And I was like, well, that's interesting because you're hiring me based on, the quote in there was I spent 2 hours lost in your YouTube channel, and I have to bring you to my audience.
Yep.
Yet you would double my fee for 2 vanity things that would be plopping something down to an event organizer and something that they could brag to their event organizers that this speaker has 100,000 followers. To me, that's like the root of everything that's wrong in like that.
Imagine
game.
Somebody telling that to Amy Schmittauer, saying, if you only had a book, and to think she's got 500
Yep.
500 highly produced, top quality, value adding videos, a video library like none other. And you don't have enough Twitter followers and you don't have a book. So, I mean, it's incredible to me what she has put together.
It depends on the event organizer.
She doesn't get the recognition she deserves for that.
It really depends on the event organizer. A lot of them are quite close-minded. You get, actually, it's wrong. You've got the young event organizer dealing with the old event organizer, and there is a definite clash of the way forward going on at the moment. So, for example, if I went in here in the UK, if I went to the older event organizer and said, we have James Whale on the system, the young guys will go, who the hell's that? And the older one will go, oh, wow, because he's a radio DJ from 20 years ago. But if I say to the younger one, oh, we've got PewDiePie signed up, they'll go, oh, wow. But to the older one, they'll go, who? And you've got the younger one who wants to use the internet and book everything, manage everything, do everything through that way. But then you've got the older one who's got the purse strings, which is, oh, no, we've got to keep it in house. We've got to do this. It's got to be book and evidence based, and we've got to have hard fact testimonials. And before I actually touch them, and I might have to phone 3 people that I've used in the past, and if they all recommend that person, then I might deal with them. Whereas the younger person is, no, I've checked out social media. Social media says this guy is good, and they've got a following on social media. So, and that's where the biggest problem comes, is that you're actually talking with 2 people actually dealing with events, and who wins? It's the guy who actually puts the bike, who has the purse strings, and is actually more likely to lose their job.
That's true. No, and I think actually, and it's interesting too. So I spoke at an event 2 weeks ago, and I got it was probably a half hour after I came off the stage that they offered me a contract for the event coming up next quarter. And the interesting part about them offering me to come next quarter was that they actually said, based on your social media impressions and the buzz you created on social, we want to have you back. Yet the reason they hired me had zero to do with social. And they actually, even when I said like, hey, do you have a hashtag? Do you have some things that you're working on? Yes, but and then after, so I asked the question, I was like, so that buzz meant a lot. And they said, well, actually our sponsors could not stop talking about how your keynote was resonating on social. And I was like, well, that's interesting. So does that sponsor want the speaker on stage that has and I'm not downing a book, because that sounds like I'm very anti-book, and I am like this freaking close to finishing mine. So I cannot possibly say that that's, and I mean, honestly, the reason I'm writing it is for almost that exact, that reason that it's a checkbox, a requirement. It's something that just kind of needs to kind of help. It can't hurt, I guess, in that sense. But I was like, for me, it was really funny hearing someone, the event sponsors hire a speaker for something, and then the reason they reward a speaker to come on and do it again is not because of that same something and you provided value. It was because you did something else. You amplified the message on a social channel that wasn't even part of the requirements.
Yeah, but Brian,
what's up,
Anthony? The thing about the book is, and by the way, good morning, everybody. Hey, Jeb, how are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. I signed up for a speaker. I just signed up. Thank you. But Brian, but think about this. I mean, listen, you're a speaker. You're known. You're a rising star. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm not blowing smoke up your nose. Listen, you know what you're good at. You've done well. You and I kind of come from a similar background, the MC DJ business. We've done very well.
Yep.
The book just becomes sort of pressure, right? It comes pressure. Right. Okay, well, where's your book? But if you're doing so well, right, let the book come naturally once you become so recognized. Because I think that book, people are forced to put out a really bad book, right? And what's worse than a really good speaker with a crappy book, right?
Yes. Well, if the book, I can tell you, if the book I was writing would have came out this past January, which was my plan, I was kind of forcing along, not only would it have not given me any opportunities, but it would have been a really bad book. Like my shift from January till August went from a book that I was writing that it was something that I kind of manufactured to checkbox. I flipped it and said, hey, because I've been writing down since it was something I got challenged in college. And it's really one of the only things I remembered from college was documenting every win and every loss since the day I left college in a career success path side. So I have an Evernote that's it's 27 pages long of like, hey, this is it's called what I'll do and not do when I become CEO is what the Evernote thing was. So every time I run into a manager that did something good, manager did something bad, I would just put like a note, like 3 or 4 lines. Yeah. And now it's 27 or 28 pages long. But I had no plans on turning that into a book until I looked at me as like a, a successful entrepreneur down the road. I had my vision was I hit 45 years old. I'm going to go. And that wasn't part of that book I was writing come January to release. Now I flipped it, and that part of that conversation is what the book's around. But I couldn't agree more, because I got that pressure June of last year, pretty hardcore, to, if you want to be on these couple stages that were on my radar, my number one fault was the fact that I didn't have a book.
Yeah, but I don't know, Jeb, what do you think? I mean, I have some thoughts, but I want to hear. I don't want to commandeer, but what do you guys think?
I've received the exact same feedback as Brian.
Yeah.
So
it's because they're getting the older audience.
College courses. I train Fortune 500 companies on marketing, and I've got my own company.
Yeah.
But until I have a book, I'm not a speaker. It's kind of crazy.
It's funny because you know what I think, and I agree with you. But so I just got hired to speak. Oh, this is gonna be crazy. I just got hired to speak to attorneys. I'm scared crap because I've never spoken to attorneys before. So I called Mitch Jackson. I called my local guys. Listen, what do attorneys face? I got the top 3, and I gave him my fee. He goes, okay, no question of a book, nothing. And I'm speaking to 50 attorneys. So maybe this might be pie in the sky, but maybe you just speak so much that your audience is begging you for a book, rather than how and I'm kind of using the sort of the chasm here, right? You got like the Gary V's, like, oh, Gary, when's your next book? When's your next book going to come out, right? And I think working up to that level to have people say, listen, Brian, we need a book from you, rather than saying, well, we can't have you on the stage because you don't have a book. I think that's old. By the way, I think that's old thinking.
No, I agree.
I think it's old thinking. And I don't want to sound like I'm bucking the trend to be a buck the trend person, but I just think it's old thinking. I think it's old event planners. The event planners I speak to.
But Anthony, you got to remember, from a marketing perspective, you have to know your audience and know your client, your customer, and you have to be putting out and meeting the expectations of those customers. So even if it's old thinking, if your customers are doing some old thinking, you need to be pushing them forward. That's your responsibility.
Yep.
But you also need to understand what their thinking is, and to meet their perceived needs, or change those perceived needs.
How and who's hiring you, right? So so I've shifted my focus with the intention of only speaking, or not only, but my shift of focus is speaking at company events, not industry events. Right. So I've kind of pivoted that focus. Right. And I think that, to me, is actually where the book requirement has come up a little bit more, only because they are saying what they do for their CEO when they announce the speakers is they drop all those books on his desk and say, here's your lineup of people that you're going to have speaking at your event. That's why you're spending up $10, and that person isn't looking and saying, who's the emerging, they're not looking at your cloud score or looking at emerging star on social. They're not checking my YouTube channel, for the most part, which is that weird thing. Cause I think and some people were putting in the comments, and I thought it was really good. Can't get a job without a college degree. The reason I left, my one company was they actually told me, in writing, it was a really, it was like, hey, Brian, we would promote you today, but to get you to the position that you have without a master's degree, you need 5 more years in experience, and you are our best candidate. So in 5 years, we can guarantee you that job. So within 30 days, I handed in my resignation and said, if I have to fit a checkbox to be promoted after I prove to you thinking outside the box. So I think you're right. It's the wrong way of thinking. The problem for me has been, for me to deliver my ability, what I like to think is I'm changing the mindset once I get on stage. Yeah. I've now kind of learned that if I can't get on stage, I'm never going to drive that change. And I think that's partially why I've converted a little bit to give in to some of those needs, because I'm like, okay, if I get in there, then I prove the value that I don't know if you guys have seen, I have a presentation where I talk about tattoos and millennials, and it's all this stuff. And I'm kind of building up their armor. Like, I telling the audience that they're all right and they got all this stuff wrong. And I'm like, am I right on? You guys speak it? And then I drop my own experience, my own tattoos, my own failures, my own. And I make all them feel not like crap, but feel like they bought into the stereotype, yet they're a big fan of mine. And I'm every one of those stereotypes. And if I don't get on stage to deliver that, I think that's where my struggle was. It was fight change and not get on stage. I'm still trying to buck that trend, or give in a little bit, get on stage and bust down the walls. Maybe because like Amy Schmittauer, who Jed brought up earlier, Amy and I have had this conversation. I've been on the stages that Amy and I have been on are very similar in the sense of like the social media space. I was on different stages in my tech career, but trying to figure out a way to get people to highlight her. I mean, like I think it's one of those things where if we were able to promote the good speakers at the events that we are at, and none of us are asking if they have a book, I think that starts to change the tide, hopefully.
Yeah, but Brian,
definitely we got to push the limits, and what Anthony's talking about, and what you just got through saying, Brian, is that we're the people who can change the perception. These event planners are in our audiences, and it's up to us to continue to push that perception change. But we need, again, it's just like the cloud score. I was talking with Cindy about this earlier. Brands that are still struggling to get a feel for what social media is all about don't have any measurement tool to determine who is the true influencer on social, right? So they are stuck with using the limited tools available, and cloud is an easy one to grab a hold of. So when we say event planners don't use a book as your measuring stick for who's got credibility as a speaker, we need to replace that. We need to give them something else that they can use to measure the quality of a speaker, and we got to be clear about it, and it has to be easy for them to use, right? We don't want to say use their dynamicism or whatever. Make sure they're dynamic and that their audience is happy. Well, that's too hard for some of these event planners to measure, right? So it's up to us to help them figure out a tool that they can use instead of a book. I don't think a book makes a speaker either.
No, but the deal with the book is this. To write a book takes time, and it takes longer than it does doing a YouTube, doing an ebook. Doing a proper hardback book and getting it published, especially with a credible institute, shows that actually you've got enough knowledge and enough fan base that one of the big publishers take you on.
Yep.
So what those guys are looking for is your dedication and your commitment to actually your product and your knowledge and your information. So, for example, if your book is very thin, and this is the problem with ebooks, because everyone goes big, large text and tries to space it out.
Fill up the page.
Absolutely. And people are above that. So if they can see your knowledge in a paperback and put their hands on it, then they can actually have a quick scan through and see very quickly whether you're actually facts, information based, or whether you're just a one tip here and a one tip here and a one tip here. Secondly, if you treat your book as no more than your glorified business card, then again, it just shows your level of knowledge and information and expertise. Because people don't trust a lot of the YouTube when you can edit it. One of the things that people are liking when I'm doing the blab is that they get to see you showing your knowledge and being pulled by the comments as to really going into depth into your topic. So now it's almost like having a one-to-one kind of interview by somebody who's cynical and saying, but, and my job is to try and catch you out and try and either bring out the level of your knowledge or actually find that actually you've got no knowledge there. You're just a very good masquerading on your knowledge.
Yeah, but Cindy, let me clarify something. And I'm gonna hop out. But Brian, by the way, good to see you. And Jeff, thank you for allowing me. I just want to clarify one point. Maybe I should have said this a little clearer. When I say don't do a book, there's other valuable content that you can use to present to a CEO. Of course, they're going to have 5 books in front of them. And then Brian comes in and say, boom, check out this video. Here's a snippet of 30 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds. And they're like, wow, because of how I am as a speaker, I'm like an energy infused speaker. So I'm all about, well, Brian knows me. It's like the shock value. And I think what you're saying, Brian, is, hey, man, give me a freaking chance. Forget the book. Give me a chance. Look at this video clip, because that's what's going to sell me. Because the book, listen, I get it. And Jeb's point's correct. When you're looking at the corporate trainers, they got to go like within this process because they have to check the boxes off. But I think for the people that we want to speak to, which is medium business, small business, the ones who are going to pay your fee because they're wowed by your video, they're wowed by your energy. You know, I think, and when you're ready to get the book, then you can help somebody put the book together. Like for me, I have 120 motivational video tips that I've produced. They're anywhere between 45 seconds to 2 minutes. I've been killing myself trying to write this book by taking 120 of the videos and putting it in an ebook, and it's driving me crazy because I have so many other things I want to do, which is speak. I want to speak. You know, I got the Tony Robbins approach. Hey, I'm the product. You guys figure this shit out later, right? I want to give me a microphone on the stage, and I'm good, right? So I'm just trying to. Let me clarify. It's not about not writing a book. It's about what's the alternative to get in front of, like, because you know, Brian, there's a CEO out there right now that's your age and in your position that wants to see that video. And he's like, hey, these are great books, but hey, look at this guy in video. This is great. Click on a YouTube, click on a Facebook, click on a tweet, click on a quick video on a website. I think that's what's going to sell. That energy, that instant, whoa, I want to get that guy. Because a book,
I think Bryn brought up a good point on the side. She actually said, like, you know, for her, her book is in the top percentage of the industry, and that people are going to Amazon to search. And my question back was very simply, that's completely broken in my opinion if someone's searching Amazon to discover somebody that is knowledgeable and influential, right? Like, I think if you're going to look at something, and to your point, Cindy, I thought that actually when you were saying that, it made me smile, because I think what actually disrupted the validation of what you're saying is self-publishing, right? Mm-hmm. The idea for me, and this is going to sound really bad, but like when that person came back to me and said if I had 100,000 followers or a book, they would double my speaking fee. It would take me 2 speaking gigs to pay off me having someone ghostwrite my book as a self-publisher and me to pay for my followers to get 100,000. Yeah, so on my third speaking gig, I would be in the profit, and I would be walking to the march of this person that I believe was completely wrong. Because before, for me to do that, I had to get a publisher, I had to pitch, you know, and not to mention, like, to get the book in hardcover.
Too much brain damage. Too much brain damage.
But now you're talking about why the publishers are actually having problems. So, for example, a publisher will only actually take on an expert if you've got a database of X amount of thousands, because what they want to do is publish your book and then go to your database to sell your book. So what's the point of getting a publisher?
Yep. Yeah, and there's on the tech space, there was actually like this paper that came down, and it was funny because they would say if you had a training course, or if you had a webinar series, we'll give you the side stage. If you have a book, we'll give you the main stage. And it was all about, to your point, Cindy, that it was proven, it was validating that the amount of time you put into a certain subject matter was not only a lot of time, but was validated by a book company putting a stamp on it, which my challenge back was very simple. If you want me to write a book on cloud computing, by the time it hits paper, not one word of that will probably be true anymore, because it's changing so much.
Same with social media too. Exactly.
You know, and like, I mean, how do you? So that it's interesting though, because to me, training courses, I kind of assumed would also have validation and background, but unfortunately, I learned that quickly that they still looked at the book side of it as like the major.
Brian, I gotta go, Brian. Let me leave you this last comment. All the things you said, I'm not gonna go. All those things you just said, right, about battling the book. So here's what it is. Screw it. You do the damn book, and then you turn around and say, by the way, this means nothing. Wait till you see me on stage. This I'm just doing for product reasons. Because I think you earn the right, respectfully, Brian, you earn the right to say what you just said after the book's produced. You can say, okay, here you go. Here's my Breville Juicer book. Here you go. Same thing. Here you go. Okay, wait to see me on stage. And like, screw the book. I want that guy. So you'll earn the right to do that. Hopefully that was helpful, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Anthony.
Bye. Well, the reason with the book and the validation and everything else, and Brent, is back in the olden days, when I say olden days, 20 years ago, somebody would say, right, you've got a degree, but that doesn't actually mean you can do the job. All it means is you can study a subject for 3 years and regurgitate the information on a given date. The fact that 10 years later you don't remember anything doesn't mean anything. It just means that that's all you're good at is to actually do. So I do find there's quite a few people use the book as no more than that measure of knowledge of, have you got the capacity to do the study and put the legwork in? So there is now more of a movement. I know here in the UK, and especially amongst the more busier chaps, that the more books you've got, the more they kind of go, oh, wow, you really know your information.
Yeah,
you really
that
have
infuriates me. Because I see people talking about they've published 40 books now. And I'm like, really? If you've published 40 books, the effort that you've put into each book has got to be ridiculously small, because I'm writing, just like Brian, writing my book right now. It is exhausting. And how do you run a business and get paid and still try and get work done while you're writing a book? I still have yet to figure that out. But to do 40 means that you've just written some 40 outlines and handed them off, in my opinion. I mean,
Well,
or maybe there are
Bryn,
people.
Bryn, I want to ask you something real quick. But Cindy, to your point on the whole YouTube side, right? So if you'll see on my website, I actually changed and I embed Catch from my Periscopes on as my speaker role, and it's that exact reason is it's uncut and actually filmed by someone in the crowd. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually I'm not embedding me on stage, the keynote that I'm giving off of, they're on my account, but there's someone sitting in the stage actually filming. And part of that is actually that idea of the speaker role, because I have a new offer now where it shows what a speaker role, my speaker role looks like, because I had a speaker role for my last company, and then what I look like, unfiltered, uncut, and it's almost polarizing even in my own example, because when someone looks at my speaker role, they're like, it kind of, I don't know, it gives you one walk towards hiring me, but you watch the catch from the audience. So, and part of that for me was, I don't want you to hire me based on me paying a really good freaking editor and a really good website that could make it look like I had hundreds of thousands of people in the crowd. I want you to do it because you've been able to scan through and watch 8-minute clips on of my unfiltered, uncut presentations.
Absolutely.
The very first person that noticed it was Catch. The company, when they came back, they said, we actually started watching and we watched the entire video, and we've never done that with someone's speaker role. And the only reason is because it felt like we were sitting in the crowd and we didn't have to worry about what you were trying to convince us. And I was like, good, that's what I was going with. Like, that's exactly the reason I have Catch on my site, not YouTube. And even though it looks a little funkier, and but it's for that exact reason.
I hope some of my footage was in that reel.
It was, Mr. Jed. Jed sat in the front row of Triangle AMA for me. That's
awesome.
And did that for me. So it was there, Jed. I appreciate that.
So if I could share, hello, my friends. This is fun. There are ways, I said on the side, there are some really great ways for speakers to write a very good book in a very short period of time. And one of the ways, and I've done this with a couple of clients, and this is how I actually started my book initially, was I actually audio taped my 3-hour class. And then I had it, and now you can have it automatically transcribed, but I sent it through Odesk, which is called something else now. For like $40, they transcribed the whole thing. And then I went through and edited. And so I probably put all of 20 hours into my initial book. And, I got a cover for $30. I didn't go to Fiverr, but you can go to fiverr.com and get a pretty good cover. You buy a good image or have a graphic artist do it. I mean, you can do it all for under $500. The key, I think, to why my book was initially successful is it was two pieces. It was a very how-to book, and there wasn't one out there at that time. There was a lot of bigger picture. This was more almost workbook style. Like, here's why you do it, and here's actually how you do it. And so that was very successful, which helped me get more gigs because the companies that were hiring me wanted an implementable takeaway. So not only did I offer content that was a good takeaway, but they got my physical book that they could go back and actually do. So that's one piece. The other thing is I got a really amazing forward from Coca Sexton that changed my world. Nice. And so I asked, and initially he's like, well, let me see this. And after he read it, he's like, this is amazing. I'm putting my name on this. I was really lucky.
Brian Fanzo, will you write the forward to my book?
Yeah, that's how you do it though, right?
I'm in. Let's do it.
All right. I got you on video saying you were still on the record, right, Cindy? All right, good.
Yeah. As long as you three let me interview you at some stage.
Absolutely.
And I won't let you have the record afterwards.
But that forward actually makes a huge difference. Like if you would search Coca, my book comes up occasionally. Like there are certain things that are really beneficial. But, a lot of times when I'm against a couple other people on a deal, and I'll say, look, Coca from LinkedIn is saying this is in my forward that this is the curriculum that they should be using. It's helped me close so many deals. So making sure you have the right forward really can make a big difference.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I got a great forward. I'm not allowed to talk about it until the book comes out. He actually doesn't want me to even talk about it pre-book, but we're going to negotiate that side. But he actually wrote me I was very lucky. I talked about on one of my Periscopes about the book that I was writing, and he actually sent me a 2-page forward and said, I'm not asking to write your forward. I'm writing your forward right now, and I want you to put my name on it.
Wow.
Yeah, it blew me away. It was actually one of those, it was a jaw-dropping, and it was someone that that I've worked with, aligned with, I look as a mentor, but I would say I probably would have never thought that I would be able to ask them or have access to ask them, or they would want to. So, but when you said that, I was laughing because that actually got me like the extra motivation to actually finish the damn thing.
Yeah, no kidding.
I got that person's stamp with. I was like, oh god, I want to get that out, so now I can put that stamp associated with my name, which would be pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, and then you got somebody waiting for you to produce it, and you're like, oh crap. Yeah, that's what I need. I need a little bit more pressure on that. Yep.
Now the pressure's going to come to you, Jed. I'm gonna flip the pressure on you now.
All right.
Well,
do it.
If you want him to do the forward, you got to actually put the words in.
There you go.
Yeah, having a book absolutely transformed my business. Now, you guys are already successful. My book is part of how I became successful, for sure. And we're going on almost, I guess, 2 years. January it'll have been out. But it's on LinkedIn, so every 3 months. I mean, I'm constantly updating. I'm constantly changing. But it keeps it fresh and it's a lot of fun. But you'll be really happy once you have that book out there. And I have it at the end of every blog, at the end of every newsletter. And I probably make, I mean, it's not a ton, but between $500 and $1,000 a month off of Amazon doing nothing. Right. But it gets me so many more opportunities in the tens of thousands. That really makes a huge impact.
No, yeah, and I saw that same result. I mean, Daniel Newman, my old business partner, when I was at BroadSuite, he's written a couple books, and a lot of his. I mean, I watched that verbatim, kind of how that aligned up and how his inbound came, and it makes sense. It makes complete sense. And for me, actually, I was never anti-book. I was more anti-book for writing a book for the wrong reason, right? And I think even the way you were saying it, where you wrote a book, it kind of complemented what you were already doing, and then you were able to build a business on top of it. I think that's also kind of an awesome way. I mean, I got 25 minutes after South by Southwest with Gary Vaynerchuk to walk around the venue because we had engaged, and he's like, hey, Brian, I set aside some time with you. Let's walk. And my entire 25-minute open Q&A with him was about a book, which is very funny. And like lots of people would have taken it a lot of different ways. But I was strategically picking every part of his brain on the speaking aspect, why to write a book, what his thought processes are, why he wrote the jab versus he wrote every single word into Crush It. I picked his brain on that entire concept. And it mainly was because I was understanding that model and that amplification, which is associated to the business. And even for me, I mean, I'm successful in Clout Score. Is definitely not equal successful in business by any stretch of the imagination. So for me,
absolutely.
I have the opposite.
Right, or even
terrible Cloud Score, but I'm doing really well in business. But I can't get my Cloud Score up.
And actually, that's probably a whole blab on the reason influence. And I mean, it's sad because we're looking at how people hire speakers and how people identify influence on social, and they're both freaking wrong. Like, how ridiculous is that? We can't even get one of them to be right. Like, even in a influence. I mean, the call I had last week with a very large company about how they identify their influencers for an event that we have, it made me sick to my stomach. Like, I was just like, this is how we're still doing it? Like, it wasn't even Cloud Score. If they were using Cloud Score as one of the variables, I might have even had a little bit more respect because they were using it as one of the variables. But the variables they were selecting were not even worth repeating because they're not doing that anymore, and we're driving change there. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting time, and I think it's exciting because I think we are getting people on stages and getting people that are getting exposure. And I think live streaming actually gives you that ability, right? Like even Blab, like, I mean, people that I felt knew me really well had no idea of my relationship or engagement or relationship is the wrong word, but the value that like someone like Chris Brogan would validate for me and had gone out of his way to always send me speaking gigs and things. But it wasn't until I was actually on a blab with him and he wouldn't stop talking and he was picking my brain going back and forth that a lot of these people that knew me came back and said, wait a second, I didn't realize. I'm like, what? You didn't realize? I brag about that all the time. Like and to me, it was like Blab actually opened their window to me. It was more of like a validation of a relationship that I've been fostering for 2 years that all I did was put it on, like, 2 squares. It wasn't any like mind blowing conversation, that's for sure. But I think that's why live streaming to me is another thing that's exciting, because you could be speaking to 40 people, and if you own that room and you crush it, and you're doing it on live streaming, and that ability for anyone to participate or view it or interview you or talk about it, now you don't have to have that professional PR person or that company that's like, hey, I'm going to give you like the exact speaker. People now are coming to me still and saying,
absolutely,
I want to help you amplify. Like, no, screw you. You're hiring me to amplify you. Let's not get this in reverse.
Right.
2 years ago, yes, you could have convinced me that I should do this work for free because my association with you was more validating. I'm finally now at a comfortable enough spot where I can say, no. Let's hold on a second. I don't care. I don't even care how many followers or Facebook likes you have. Let's flip that script. But it takes a long time.
That was a big aha moment when someone actually said, but I'm going to get you in front of all these people. I'm like, but I'm going to fill that room for you.
Yeah.
Like,
you see, that's what the event organizers are actually after, because they coined the phrase bums on seats.
Yeah.
And it comes back to them saving their job. So what they want to do is actually make sure that the right people on the stage are going to bring in some of the audience that perhaps they've never seen before, because you're the right person and they need the bums on seats, especially if it's a ticketed event.
Yeah. So can I just say one more thing before I pop off, because I have a client in 20 minutes. But the last thing I want to mention, when you guys write your book, have some kind of very valuable opt-in in the front of your book, because what happens is when it's on Amazon and people are buying it in a lot of other places, you never capture who they are. So I have an opt-in for them to watch a 79-minute live class. I did, and so whatever it is that you're offering, you can start to collect probably 80 or 90% of the people buying your book that you wouldn't be able to in any other way. And
I'm adding that to my book amplification notes right now.
And make sure you have a hashtag connected, and even some kind of click to tweet. Like, so if you have a click to tweet, like I just read this book and it's going to change my life. And then you go buy like tweetthisbook.info, right? So all they have, and then you make a click to tweet and redirect it with your URL. Now, all of a sudden in real time, you can start to see who's reading your book.
Oh yeah. And my title is hashtagged. So
okay, great.
I'm bucking the trend there. They did not, the very first company I talked to about that, they were like, that's not good for SEO. That's not good for how it's going to search in Amazon. I said, and that's not where I'm going to generate sales. And they were like, oh. I was like, watch. I was like, I can take a hashtag and turn it into a community, because I know that game a hell of a lot more than I know about optimizing Amazon based on my perfect title. And they came, and I proved it with the communities that Social Business Hour, it only took them once searching one hashtag, and we're like, I think you invented that hashtag. And it's a great advice. I love it. I added to my notes.
Awesome. Guys, this was a lot of fun. Thanks for letting me come on.
Thanks for the great feedback and tips. Yeah, she had some great stuff.
Yeah, Bryn's awesome. I'm a fan. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off too. I go get some of this work done stuff, but I loved it. It was an open blab morning and a fun conversation to get the blood going for the morning.
Yeah. Now I'm motivated to knock out my stuff for today, so I'll have time this afternoon to put some more.
Are y'all done?
Yeah, I'm going to jump off, but I'll be listening. I'll be in the comments for sure listening.
Okay. Cheers. Thank you for coming in.
What's up,
Brian?
Cindy? What's up, Dad?
Cindy, I'll stay on just for a few minutes longer. I've got a little bit of coffee left, and I'm still taking notes here on the sidebar. But I'll pop off in a moment. I know you've been going over on your time, but
believe it or not, I don't know. Damon, are you around? Are you going to jump back in for a bit? Go on.
I haven't got.
Let me tell you, this is this guy's blab.
Hi, Jed. You all right?
Hey.
He started it to test his audio and test blab, and you see, this is what a good blab does.
Yeah, so we're still going here, Damon.
Oh,
amazing! Should we run it through to till Friday then? Fantastic, Sunday. Well done. Brilliant.
I'm glad you're back in the seat because I'm going to have to bimble off because I've got a client call at 3 o'clock, so I'm going to go and get ready for that. But I'd like a copy of this, please.
Definitely, yeah.
Please.
Yeah, no worries.
We'll have to knock off. So this is going to be on your. It's not going to be on Cindy's profile. This is going to be on your profile, Damien. Okay.
If that's okay, Damien.
That's
It's
fine.
all right.
No worries. Thank
I
you
follow
so much.
you, so I'll be able to find you.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
I'm gonna
have fun.
But, do something,
Thanks,
and I'll catch you up on Twitter, Damien.
All right.
Bye.
Speak soon. Thank you, Cindy.
All right. See y'all.
You get it again. Thanks for all joining in, guys. Thanks very much for the for all the advice, and thank you very much for Cindy there for jumping in earlier on. I can't believe it. My first blab has gone into, I think, almost 5 hours today. Almost 5 hours. So thanks very much for everybody joining in. 177 people have been here, and it was awesome to see one of my idols that I keep watching, which is Brian Fanzar. So thanks a lot, guys, and we'll speak to you soon. Thank you, Cindy. I was just going to end it, to be fair. It's been quite a long, unless somebody wants to join in, we can have a bit of a chat. It's fine. If anyone's here that wants to join me, it'd be great. Thank you. Does anybody want to join then? Does anybody want to come in? Otherwise, I am going to close and finish this up for the day. Give it a minute or so. Thanks, Nadeem. We've been changing the actual title of this blab since it's been going this morning over here in the UK. Right, thanks again, Cindy. I'm going to end this blab, and thank you very much for being a co-host in there. Much appreciated. We'll speak soon. I'll catch you soon.